This is Jacksonville's Morning News with Rich Jones on News 104.5 WOKV.
8:39 on the Wednesday edition of Jacksonville's Morning News. The White House increasing pressure on House Republicans to try and free up money aimed at combating the Zika virus.
What we don't want to do is play political games with it.
Florida Senator Marco Rubio yesterday on the floor saying that his hope is that cooler heads will prevail and that over the next few days we find it within ourselves and find how to appropriate the money necessary so we can begin to deal with this. Senator joins us live now. $1.9 billion, I should say, is the ask from the White House. What's standing in the way here?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me this morning. There's a couple of concerns. One is people are asking, well, what's the money going to be spent on? And I think that's appropriate. You know, we need to know what exactly is going to be funded. It can't. And the other is, do we need to do it now? I believe we need to spend the money, and I believe we need to do it now. This is a public health emergency. We see the impact it's having in Latin America. We see the impact that's happening, for example, in Brazil, a state where soon a lot of people are going to be coming from Florida into Brazil. But you also have a bunch of people working in the cruise industry and the shipping industry who are coming into our ports there in Jacksonville, Northeast Florida, across the country, who are traveling through Latin America. And ultimately, these mosquitoes that spread this are very common in Florida during the summer. So I want us to fund it. I want us to fund whatever it is we need to do. I don't know if it's 1.9 or 1.7, but whatever it is, we need to fund it. We cannot allow this to spiral out of control because what we're seeing coming out of Brazil is devastating.
And the urgency that we've heard from CDC in recent weeks and some of their findings is a little bit maybe more troubling than things that we had heard, say, about Ebola, for example. And I know some Ebola money has been used to help prepare for Zika.
Yeah, it has. Here's the thing about Zika. There's a lot of misunderstanding. It's not just something that impacts pregnant women, which in and of itself is problematic. It can be spread not just through mosquitoes. It can be sexually transmitted as well. It's now been linked to Guillain-Barré, which is a debilitating condition, very often fatal in people who carry it. So, and it has. We've seen the microencephaly impact that it has on these unborn children when they're born. Their brain development is stemmed. It's happening in the first and now the second trimester. So even late into a pregnancy, we're seeing it spread as well. It is frightening because it's mosquito-borne, but it impacts people, and it's much closer to home. I mean, we are seeing, for example, 500 cases in Puerto Rico.
Even closer to home for us, on a different topic, Mayor Lenny Curry from Jacksonville is departing for D.C. this morning. He's going to be talking about Eureka Gardens, a well-known and plagued facility here on Jacksonville's west side. What sort of action do you believe needs to be taken that hasn't yet been taken here?
Well, first, I'll meet with the mayor today. I've been working with his office on this issue. I was on the phone with Secretary Castro of HUD 2 weeks ago expressing my concerns. Look, my biggest problem is that this is a building that HUD said was fine. It passed their inspection. Even as recently as a month and a half ago, it passed their inspection. Barely, but it passed it. And then you see the facility, and my staff's been there multiple times. You have people going to the hospital. So we have this federal government agency certifying that a housing project is safe for habitation, and you got people getting sick, and you don't even have to be a scientist to know that. You see this place, and you can immediately tell it's problematic. And so I have first we got to get that situation corrected, but beyond it, if you've got a HUD inspection process that's broken, that needs to be addressed.
Senator Marco Rubio, the voyage data recorder from El Faro was located. Efforts are going to be underway to try to get that and try to learn from it. What's the biggest unknown question that we do need to try to get answered, and hopefully will get answered once we can get that voyage data recorder?
Well, how did this happen? What could have been done to prevent it so it never happens again? I also think for the families, so many of whom live in Northeast Florida, having closure once and for all, I can't imagine how difficult it must be, not just to lose someone, but to lose them in a way that you just don't fully understand how this could have happened. And so hopefully with the fire, I want to congratulate the Coast Guard and all the other agencies that were involved in the search, because I think this will help bring closure, but also help us learn why this happened so it never happens again.
Senator Marco Rubio, thanks.